So we all know how much love the House of Amouage has received throughout the years. I personally own so many of their offerings, from interlude to lyric to epic to memoir, and the list goes on and on, Fate being another one. Well, in today's Cephalabon contributor video, I'm going to be telling you about a very special giveaway, and I'm also going to be speaking about the revamped Opus collection. So there's been a little bit of a rebranding. The bottles have changed, or I should say they are in the more standard line of bottles that you've expected from Amouage, that you've seen throughout the years. I'm excited to tell you about these 4 fragrances, 2 new and 2 older releases, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's video and I tell you about these 4 Amouage fragrances from the Opus collection, which are now in the rectangular bottles, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you learned something today or if you took something of value from today's episode. So here are fragrances that have been released throughout the years. The original one is from 2011, then the second from 2013, then 2019, then the most recent, 2021. Now, if you'll remember, I actually did a video on Silver Oud. This one is composed by Cecile Zarokian, amazing fragrance. I'm gonna leave a card to that up here and a link down below. So that is in a new presentation now as well. If you would like to enter for your chance to win the giveaway, all you have to do is shoot on over to cephalabon.com. It's gonna be the first link down below in the description. After you've read through the article and become a registered reader, just leave a comment on the article and you'll be automatically entered to win. That's it. It's actually pretty easy. Do make sure to check back to the article on the date that is specified in the article so that you know if you're one of the lucky winners. Good luck, everyone. Make sure to read through everything very carefully. I wish you all the best of luck. So here we have the Opus collection, and there's been a rebranding recently, and I love the way that the bottles look now. There's uniformity. So this is what the revamped Opus collection looks like, and I do like the non-saturated, or I should say not heavily saturated colors of the bottles. They're a bit more muted, and they definitely convey a sense of elegance and sophistication, and I personally love that. So the first one here, and I'm just going to go through them and I'm going to let you know what I got from the smell. It was certainly quite an exercise familiarizing or refamiliarizing myself with some of these, because some of these I actually tried when they came out. And so it is the same juice, but it's in a different bottle. And the first one is Opus 5 Woods Symphony. So all of these have been given a name now, which I personally love. And this one is composed by Jacques Cavalier. Now with Woods Symphony, or Opus 5, it's a fragrance that originally came out in 2011. I do remember smelling it when it first came out, and it is a woodsy fragrance, but it also has this boozy rum and iris combination in the opening. Now there is agarwood in here from what I remember, and you can definitely pick up on the agarwood, but it's not as animalic as some of the other offerings here. So some of the other offerings do have either civet or castoreum, and it tends to go a little bit in an animalic direction, but this one, not so much. The starchiness of the iris and the booziness of the rum is a beautiful counterpart to that sort of woodsy base that you get in the conclusion here. Opus 5 Woods Symphony is an awesome fragrance. I'm definitely a fan of it. The next fragrance I think is Reckless Leather. Yep, I'm right. Opus 7, Roman numeral 7, VII, Reckless Leather. So the interesting thing about this one, came out in 2013. I do remember it sampling it in stores when it first came out. I was at a boutique in Soho in Manhattan. They carried this, and this one is actually co-created by Pierre Negrin and Alberto Moria. So we're talking some of the best perfumers on the planet. Pierre Negrin also did the original interlude for Men by Amouage, and of course that's one of the darkest expressions, from the brand, and then since then we've had the more concentrated one in the extracts, and you know, it's a crazy longevity, crazy performance fragrance. But here we also have another one that is, I would say, equally dark. I don't know if it's darker, but it's equally dark. Now, I was actually kind of surprised because when I looked at the note breakdown initially, there was no saffron in there. There's coriander, there's a bunch of other spices, a touch of cardamom, there's a lot of nagarmotha, and that's mostly what you're going to get. You do have some woodsy notes in the base as well, and the spices alongside the nagarmotha really convey that leather essence that you get from this fragrance, but really on the dark side of things. And I'm actually not too surprised because somebody like Alberto Morillas is incredibly versatile. If you've smelled something like Gucci Guilty Absolute, he's the perfumer for that fragrance too, but that fragrance is also kind of on the smoky, darker side of things. So you definitely have that sensation with this fragrance. Dark, smoky, a little herbal on account of the nagarmotha. It has an aromatic profile to it as well, but it's certainly a leather-based fragrance. Reckless leather, as the name implies, is definitely a little bit more on the heavy-handed side of things. And personally, when you wear a leather-based perfume, you want to make a statement, right? You don't want something that is quiet and fleeting and ephemeral. You want something that has more of a bold presence. Now, the next fragrance came out in 2019. This one is Opus 12, Roman numeral 12 XII, and this one is called Rose Incense. Now, rose incense, you do get a lot of really nice rose in here. Definitely exotic, definitely conveying kind of a Middle Eastern vibe. Now, the thing with this fragrance is it has a lot of oliban. So when you're thinking about the incense, it could have been a Papanax, which is sweet myrrh. It could have been a bitter myrrh variety. It could have been any number of resins, copal. There's so much incense on the market. This one, the star of the show, is olibanum, otherwise known as frankincense. And so frankincense for me has this lemony pine aroma. So it is inherently earthy and balsamic, and I personally love that. And alongside the rose, and there's something a little animalic in the base. It's funny because the rose itself is not dark. The rose itself actually smells quite clean and quite gentle, but it's all of the ingredients surrounding the rose that are a little bit on the darker side of things. And so this one, brilliantly composed. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Definitely one of the darker expressions from the brand, but not as dark as like a Reckless Leather. Certainly not as dark as a Silver Oud. And another thing that I'm going to comment on when it comes to Silver Oud is the incredible longevity that you get from it. But this one also gives you very good longevity because it does contain some darker ingredients in here. So you can expect in the wheelhouse of like 8 hours with this one. Silver Oud, 12 plus hours, not even playing that game. And of course, Reckless Leather is also in the wheelhouse of 10 to 12 hours. And then the first one that I spoke about, Wood Symphony, is between 7 and 8 hours on my skin. So it really all depends on skin chemistry. It might perform a little better on you than it does on me, so on and so forth. And so let us go ahead and conclude with the final fragrance, and this one is Silver Oud. Now, I will forego a lengthy description on this one because I've actually reviewed it. So I did leave a card to the video in the beginning, so if you're interested in learning my in-detail thoughts about a 10-minute long video, definitely check that out. But this one is basically oud, spices, you have a touch of cardamom from what I can detect, a little bit of nagarmotha in this one as well, and the perfumer is Cecile Zarokian, one of the best perfumers of our time, and this one is composed exquisitely well. I have this one story where I was so eager to smell this for the first time when I first acquired it that I actually sprayed it when I was in my car. I ripped open the box, sprayed it on myself when I was sitting in the car, and then I came back into the car the very next day and I said, why does it smell like I just applied Silver Oud? And it turns out that it actually stuck to the seatbelt. And my car smelled like Silver Oud for like 2 weeks after that. This is a beastly performer. And of course you have the oud in here, you have some woods, you have some incense ingredients, you have some spices, you have a little bit of everything in here. And for an oud-based fragrance that actually smells like oud, and of course, as an Amani brand, Amouage does some incredible fragrances, and they certainly know how to utilize the highest quality oud. Definitely check out Silver Oud from the Opus collection. And of course, this one is Opus 13 if you were interested. All of them have a number, and I think that that also makes them easier to search up and easier to find. But these have been my thoughts on the newly redesigned Opus collection from Amouage, and you have this beautiful discovery set, the library collection. Please check it out if you can. Just some incredible fragrances here. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, I know it wasn't so much of a review, but it was kind of a discovery of all 4 of these fragrances, and I have reviewed one of them. I do want to say that if you took something of value from today's episode, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Also hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload these daily fragrance videos, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you learned about a new fragrance today. Make sure to enter the giveaway by visiting cephalabon.com, first link down below. Good luck, everybody. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.